And now it's time for Photo Booth Live Chat with John Young. Good evening and welcome to tonight's show where we are talking to some of the presenters who are going to be coming to the upcoming Photo Booth Expo show in Las Vegas. For information on that, you can go to photoboothexpocom and check out the itinerary. You can check out the hotel information's there, the casino, all that is there at photoboothexpo.com. And I think if you use the promo code, if you want to get into the show yet, if you use the promo code PBX Show 2020, you can still get a discounted rate pass, the key pass to get in and get everything. And one of the things you're going to be getting this year is a seminar from the gentleman with me tonight, Randy Long. Good evening, Randy.
Hello, how are you doing?
I am doing well. Thanks for joining me tonight.
Awesome blossom.
Yeah, Randy, you're going to be speaking on Tuesday afternoon. You're going to be the presentation. We'll get it here. Talking about overlays, and of course now my mouse, elevating your overlay game by and for dummies. So obviously that's either some self-deprecating humor there, or
I am that dummy. Yeah.
Before we kind of get into
it takes a village, and I'm the idiot.
I think I was in that idiot position too. Before we get into the talking about the seminar, kind of let's tell the world who Randy Long is, and kind of tell them your story of what got you into the photo booth world.
Well, way back 27 years ago, my wife and I were making our ways actually as balloon artists, doing clowns and balloon animals at variety entertainment, at restaurants and things like that. And come the holidays, we found that we were about $800 short each year. And so I actually got my start. I wanted, how do I get more money in that vein?
Yeah.
And so I decided, hey, you know something, I could be Santa Claus out at the shopping center here, West Acres in Fargo, North Dakota. And the first year I got turned down flatly. And the next year I got accepted. I was very tenacious. I got all the horrible shifts. And then the third year, the mall came to me and they said, we'd like to do an event for families who couldn't afford to purchase a picture. And they were doing it at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. And really none of the other Santa performers wanted to do that, so I volunteered to do that. Mm-hmm. And my boss flatly told me that, no, I'm not going to pay you.
Oh, jeez.
And so I told him, I said, very nice there. And he said, well, I'll volunteer. And he says, well, not my suit. So I took that $800. I went down to Knight's Formal Wear where they had the Santa photos. And I told Nancy, who's a friend of mine, I said, I need to borrow you to extend me some credit for the Santa suit. And I told her the reason why. And at any rate, long story short, balloon animals, restaurants, discounts. We eventually went to the restaurants and we said, we'd like you to bring in some food because we've been giving you a great discount because we've been there each week. And they did, and they gave us some swag on top of it. So, and then I went to my friend Ariel, who ran the 1 hour photography business way back when. This was before digital was even part of the thing. And he said, I offered to pay it. He volunteered it, but give me 45 minutes because that's what it'll take me to take all these pictures and develop.
Yeah.
And so I did. And my wife and I twisted balloon animals. We painted faces. We had all this presents, all this food. all free of charge for all these families. And the owner of the mall came up to me, or came up to the mall manager in charge of it, D. Lander at the time, and said, well, where did you get all this? And he says, well, Santa did it. And I said, well, hello there, Bradley Schlossman. I'm Santa Claus, and I've got a few ideas on how to run this whole thing better. And he says, well, let's meet in January. And at the time, it was before digital backs were about $15,000. And so I told him, I said, let's do a video still. And he says, great, can I see a sample? And I said, sure, but I'm back ordered on things. And he says, oh, okay, just in a month or two, just get it to me. And I was actually back ordered on everything. I didn't have a camera. I didn't have a computer. But back in high school, I was a professional, as much as I could be back then, but I get paid for it. Newspaper photographer, so I know my aperture from my a-hole and shutter speeds and ISO numbers, and I knew that part of it. And fired up the credit card, got a computer and printer and everything else like that. And he loved it. And he says, you got the contract? That was 27 years ago. And I literally started off with having to program all my own stuff. Because we had staff who really didn't know all the process. So we took, the 72 steps that it first took to just download a photo. And I remember one of the first days we had open, and the PCMCI cards at the time were not even available. They were about, the PCMCI card readers were $1,500. And so you had to download via a serial cable. And I still have that camera. But it took so long that I had to go out and get a second camera, and then just switch the plugs. 640 by 40. Guess how much that first camera cost me?
Oh, I don't even want to.
$1,200.
I was going to say north of 1,000, I would guess.
Yeah, $1,200. So I had to have two of them. That was $2,400.
Oh, man.
And it's just been, we built it from that. We did a few little corporate gigs here and there. And then back about 7 or 8 years ago, I just decided, I was following the photo booth industry, and it was starting to catch up to the stuff that I was doing and pass it. And then that's when about this time, I was working for another company, and a very short time, and they kind of ticked me off. And after they ticked me off, on company time, I booked my ticket to Vegas, and that was actually, I think, the second. How many years is it for the photo booth convention?
It's been 5. This will be year number 6.
So that was only no.
Yeah. Yep. So
it's only 5.
Yeah, we've done 5. This will be our 6th year this year. So
that's only, boy, it's a long time since.
Yeah. The first ones were a while ago.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's my backstory.
Yeah.
And so we've been doing Santa and Easter photos for 26 years. And then really gotten into the photo booth stuff ever since. So.
And you're based out of what part of the country, for those who are wondering?
Oh, Fargo, North Dakota,
Thank you.
Sure, you betcha.
I was going to say, you haven't given me anything for an accent or any kind of.
Oh, you want that accent?
Well, no, because they will tease me, because I have, every once in a while, I will say something that's very Minnesotan, and figured
everybody does have an accent, but we like everybody.
We try.
Yeah,
we try, but not so much.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. That's a neat story. So you're in the photo booth world. You're doing your things, and you're going to be speaking now of utilizing overlays to really help your business. Let's kind of dive into that a little bit about what the folks are going to be hearing you talk about on stage.
Okay. One thing that I've noticed, I've kind of been carpetbagging people, kind of just sitting back, playing dumb at these conventions. A lot of the stuff I'm learning a ton of stuff, or else I wouldn't go there. But a lot of the stuff I speak up about afterwards, and people have been asking me, how do you do this? How do you do this?
Yeah.
And, I found that my skills, and totally, I didn't go to school for Photoshop. It's just totally, my first work in Photoshop was just basically getting that picture in and printing it. That's number one. And then after that, then we had to do some editing and things like that. And so I've just totally self-taught. So that's why I say it's for dummies by dummies. And, but the one thing that, this goes back to the Alzheimer's Association. A friend of mine managed all 4 of the Alzheimer's walks in North Dakota. and she asked, could you come take pictures of the teams and print
Okay.
them off?
Uh-huh.
Sure, no problem. And she goes, can we put the logos on there? And yep. Well, that one led me to get to another one, and this was a big one up in Duluth, Minnesota. They've got a huge event, and she says, well, we've got a guy who's doing photo booths, but all he did last 2 years was give us a strip with a 2x6 strip, because that's the only thing you know how to do.
All right. Mm-hmm.
And he put the Alzheimer's walk and the year, and that's the only thing he changed. And I said, well, we're going to give you a 4x6, and we're going to put all your main sponsors on there, because I love it. My God, and can you be up there in 5 days? I'm like, well, we're already booked for something. Well, we're already book us in for next year. And now it's just every year we know we're up there. And so what I really found was that I can take in a magazine ad, I can do radio ad, I can maybe do some TV, I can go to a bridal convention, and might get something, But what really caught people's attention was when I did things at the events. The one was Brandy Mackenzie Alexander, who's a Minnesota Viking, and he came up for Habitat for Humanity.
Okay.
And I know that the director up here, and I said, well, how would you like to have, some pictures so that people who are there can, that would help you out? And he goes, I love it.
Yeah.
Put all the sponsors on there, and lo and behold, Bell Bank. You're down in Minneapolis, right?
Down that direction, yeah. Basically halfway between you and Minneapolis. That's where I'm at.
Okay. Oh, in Alexandria?
Yeah, near that. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, but Bell Bank is huge up here, and they called me up. They were there and they saw it, and then they said, well, can you come to our Santa Day? Well, of course we can. And now we do all of their events. And so really a lot of our growth and our exponential growth lately has been our ability to go into events, to give them really dynamic, fun overlays, which showcase the all the sponsors of the events. So,
sure.
And it just goes from there, because the people who are, I think Catalina Block said it last year or 2 years ago, that they did this, and it makes total sense. That you want to be at those events where the people who are making the decisions are, and you want to impress them. Yeah. And you may get them on a radio ad, you may get them on a newspaper ad, you may be able to get them on a Facebook, but for them to experience it, experience the quality of the experience that you have there, see the quality of oh my gosh, there's my company's logo on there.
Yeah, for sure.
That's money in the bank for them. So, and then from that, then you get passed around to, what I try and do, where they start with, some nonprofits have the money in there, and some don't. And I just kind of wean them up to it. If they've got it, I'm going to give them 1 or 2 years of gratis, or very low. And I'm going to say, tell you what, I want you to eventually get to the point where I'm making some money,
right,
and you're making some money, and we're all happy. And we've got one event up here, which is the Great North Pole. And we started off, and I think I gave them about $12,000 worth of product. And I think they paid me about $1,900,
Sure.
And now this last year, I still gave, I think, about 15 grand, and then I sponsor, and then you get your sponsor on there, so I'm getting my logo out there. I look good corporately. And now he's getting their 5-6 grand, and he's getting 10,000, or not 10,000. I think he's getting $6,500 for that sponsorship.
Sure.
So he's making money, I'm making money, and we're all making it work.
Mm-hmm. What kind of, to make something like that work? Just let's look at the design side of it. What kind of skills, capabilities do you need to have to make that, to be able to customize and do things like that?
Just the ability to let yourself fail. Give yourself the time to fail, and the time in front of a computer. If you can say, I want to select a new, and I'm going to do a 4x6 with a transparent background, and I want to add a layer, and I'm going to put I'm going to put this color down, and then I'm going to go over to Adobe Stock Photos, and I'm going to get a great texture. I'm going to overlay that. I'm going to teach them where to get transparency, so you can get that layered, transparent look. So it's not just a single color on top of it; it becomes dynamic. And how to work with dimensions. It's very important when you work with corporate logos that you maintain their dimensionality. So you need to know. I think Photoshop 2020 actually went backwards. It used to be hold shift. Now it's not hold shift. But anyway, as soon as it starts getting warped, stop doing it, But really layers is for me works best. And there's a billion ways of doing it, probably a billion and one ways to do it better. But this is how I do it. And I want to share that with people and allow them, the Photoshop people or the photo booth people, to be able to really put their best foot forward, to give themselves a dynamic overlay design that they do themselves. And so they're not that I want to take business away from people who are doing it themselves, but a lot of times they're, if you're sitting there on your web page saying, here's my 5 designs, choose from them, and I'll put your names on it, I just think you're going to get passed up. And you also have an opportunity in this realm of expanding your business through volunteering, through giving back to worthy causes that you choose, and that you can further expand your brand by including those, by being able to say, okay, yep, I'm going to do the overlay for you, charge for it. I mean, when it comes to corporate things, I don't charge much, but I charge $100 to $150,
right? Yeah,
and per overlay, and then you put those logos on there and get your name out.
Sure. Excellent. How many events do you do a year now when you're doing a combination of the full, kind of, we'll call them maybe the fully paid or the mostly paid, compared to events where it's more for your advertising events, we'll call them?
Oh, lordy. Well, last year, I think last year was 98 events. And I'd say about a third of them are I'm sponsoring part of it. I think I did about $90,000 worth of sponsorship last year, at anywhere between 25% sponsorship up to 100% sponsorship, depending on what they're at. So if you throw in Santa and Easter photo in there, each day is an event. I'm well over 400 events.
Goodness, wow.
Yeah.
I hope it's more than just you and your wife. Or
ex-wife now.
Ex-wife, yeah, that's right. You mentioned it earlier. I hope you have more than a team of 2.
Yeah, we ended up this year with about 60 employees. So
wow! Oh, congratulations! That's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah,
that is neat stuff.
That's 60 full-time employees, but
yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
that are out there doing things on those busy nights. So. Great. So, Randy, you're going to be speaking at Photo Booth Expo coming up here. If you want to get tickets, a quick link to go to is pbntv.com/tickets, or you can go to photoboothexpo.com and click on the tickets there. Enter the promo code PBX Show 2020, and that will give you the best rate on tickets. The tickets are going to be going up to the door price shortly because we're not that far away. We're still outside of that 2 weeks for airfare. You can get your tickets, you can get your airfare, you can get the hotel room by going right to South Point and getting that, and you'll be there, and you can do it all for well under $500 if you really, really are wanting to watch your numbers. It can be done. So, and it'll be a great time to learn some cool things for building your photo booth business from many folks there, and of course, including Randy's session talking about Photoshop and creating those overlays. I know my wife she uses Photoshop a lot with the newspaper, and anytime she can hear someone else talking and demonstrating what they do in Photoshop, she's like a sponge, because there's so many things you can do in Photoshop, and everyone has learned something just a little bit different from there.
It's a little bit different, yeah,
from that experience. And like I'm a keystroke person, and I do this, and other people are like, oh yeah, we do this, and we do this, and I like layers. Some people don't, so it's kind of neat.
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
Exactly. As long as it works for you and you get it done, and
at the end of the day, as long as it turns out and the people are happy. So, Randy, if people have any questions, or if they would like to reach out to you to maybe give some questions to you ahead of time, that you could,
that'd be awesome.
What would be the best way for them to get in touch?
Randy, RNDY, at thepixsquad.com. So PIX squad.com.
Excellent. You guys can reach out to Randy, and if you have some questions or you'd like to see him do something with an overlay at the show, reach out to him before we get down there to Las Vegas, and he can work that in. So, Randy, thank you much for your time tonight. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in Vegas.
Sounds great. Thanks much. Have a great day.
Yep. Thank you guys for being with us. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thanks.